Donald Trump. We look at the recent statements from Donald Trump about a big event as we see these developments with North Korea. And we know that China will side with North Korea. We know that China somehow is influencing YouTube to the point where criticism of China's rise, I've seen this on my own channel, those videos are demonetized. So I'm saying to you, is there something bigger going on than what a lot of people are aware? People get caught up in the emotions. You know, I was doing a lot of analysis last year of the conflicts between Antifa and Patriot Prayer, the various fights and situations. And, you know, after having well over a year to look at that, as you do as well, are you seeing people discuss real issues, you know, that affect us all? I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing some people get involved in things that are like, you know, packaged as political, but they're really going down there for a fight. You see, maybe there is a disconnect because I've been involved in the independent media since 2004, 2005, when I started Outside the Box TV on Access in Portland before YouTube came out in 2006. And I've never really been motivated to move up in the ranks and make a lot of money, but I just simply want to survive. So there are certain things from my perspective that I can't compromise. To me, it's a foreign concept, knowing as much as I've learned about Agenda 21 and the New World Order, to think that the system would just be breached through a popular president, whoever it is. You know, and there was a period in which it was difficult to continue doing my show in Portland because I wasn't on the Obama train. And so I say that to say it's unfortunate that people have given faith to politicians based on how they perceive them on television and the very talking points. Is the deep state really against Donald Trump? You know, they said when Barack Obama was continuing George W. Bush's wars that Republicans were forcing Obama's hand. It's kind of like, you know, a deep state on the Republican side conspiracy, wouldn't you say? And there's been a lot of denial regarding the disinformation that's out there on the web to turn us against each other, those of us in the liberty movement. People that were in support of Ron Paul, for example, people like myself, and people have gone in different directions since then. You know, and some people for a number of years are doing the whole anarchist thing, if you will, only to become statists later to think that something has changed. This is naive thinking. It's dangerous thinking. Because what's planned for this country is a war that it's not going to be able to finance to win. And I've been saying that since George W. Bush Jr. See, and that's when I first started to see these plans for global conflict. You know, there was a time, it was in 2016, it was before the election. And I went on a particular YouTuber's program in a live stream. And he wanted me to give my opinion about Donald Trump because he was putting out a lot of pro-Trump content. Quite a bit. Like 90%. And that's fine. But see, I'm more of a political agnostic. I'm not left or right. I'm an independent. I'm not going to change who I am just because there are other people that are believing that Donald Trump is genuine. I'm being really polite here. So, you know, these have been not just difficult last few years, but going all the way back to George Bush Jr. Seeing the co-opt within the activist movement that died during Obama, for example. And there's a lot of people now that I think have some false hopes in certain things. I don't know where Bitcoin's going to go, but I'm not convinced. And there's a certain demographic of people that are attracted to it, and I'm not demonizing people into crypto. I'm skeptical regarding the idea that things have changed and now the government is going to be bringing out and rolling out and allowing all this freedom for people to become Bitcoin millionaires. And that's something that I'm very skeptical about. But going back to some of the things that I was talking about earlier, you know, I don't talk about it often. I don't even watch his content. But Alex Jones was inspiring when I started my program, and that was a very long time ago. That was when I was watching his tapes in 2002. And for those that are long-term Alex Jones listeners, and I have a lot of videos on this, they know the difference between what Alex Jones was pushing then and what he's been doing in recent years. He was talking about false flag terror. He was talking about 9/11. He was talking about a lot of different things. He was even talking about graphic details of Iraqis being tortured. To then come away from that and go, oh, look at they're probably planning some major retaliation. Look at what we've done to them. And there's been a lot of other manipulations in which innocent people have been targeted. And see, with regards to fake news, it's all over the place. People get defensive because now it's political and they think that it's just a political witch hunt. Fake news and disinformation has been in the conspiracy theory genre on the internet as long as I've been on the internet. And sometimes people have a knack for going, yeah, that's bullshit. There's no facts, there's no links. Yeah, China's getting ready to invade through Mexico. Yeah, buddy. Now, the thing is, what's interesting about that is that there are genuine concerns about the future. Then why was there so much fake disinformation trash planted a decade ago and 15 years ago, predicting these things in 2000? So it seems, in my opinion, that the governments, the intelligence agencies, which probably work together in more ways than one. And I also feel like I even fully talk about these things, controversial things, on YouTube anymore because of the demonetization. And see, people need to understand and get outside their box. It's not just the right or conservatives that are being demonetized, or extremist content. It's people that are making videos demonizing extremist content. And this most of you know, right? This is just across the board. Because we're divided, there's not a lot of solutions amongst those in the alternative media because of this severing that's taken place. And the question is, will we ever recover from this? I see it as a blow to the liberty movement if people are going to get divided whether or not they like the president. That's not what, and I wouldn't even describe myself as an anarchist, more of a philosopher, a human being, an independent thinker. But the very last thing that I'm going to do, and the same thing goes for whoever's running in the next presidential cycle, our votes don't count in these elections. So we've seen the things that I warned about on that YouTube video that was censored come to fruition. There were things that were said in that program where I said, do you really want me to share my opinion to this person that was putting out pro-Trump videos? And he said yes. So without even attacking anybody, but explaining, as a former Ron Paul supporter, I'm skeptical about all this because my geopolitical forecast regarding this upcoming war with the East goes back to 2007, 2008. Not only that, I think it'll be apexing around 2025. And my Solar Flare ebook, which is free at Ansary.tv, check it out, shows the war cycles compiled by a Russian in 1918 that shows when there's more solar cycles, solar flares, there are more wars and battles. It just happens to be a coincidence. Doesn't mean there aren't things going on the minimum. But it's like if you look at the history, and if you look at the data, and if you look at these periods in the last several decades, oh yeah, we could see periods on the map, if you will, where X marks the spot. So 9/11 was one of those periods, the period in which Occupy started up and the Arab Spring and all these other things happening. And even a lot of tension between Obama and gun owners and all that was building, and that was the moment. Then Obamacare, and there are these things that rally us up, and blah. And it's like, we don't have to be for Obama or any of these people, but we can also step back and go, but I'm not going to riot in the streets. That's not going to change anything. A revolution? See, I think that we need to have more consciousness in our society, mutual respect. To agree to disagree. That's the first step. If there's going to be any moving forward and a restoration of liberty for all. So yeah, my geopolitical forecast hasn't changed. And he didn't like the response. Some things I cited. I cited the things that Donald Trump said out of his mouth. Maybe we should shoot down those Russian jets. That's not me who said that. I was just quoting Donald Trump's. Yeah, they can go ahead and play this narrative, Russia election, da-da-da, circus, distraction, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But then meanwhile, we had the warning signs. So I wrote an article, and it's at alexansary.tv as well. You can use the search bar. selection, prediction, Donald Trump, 2016, war with Russia, war with China. And then you see how this North Korea thing just kind of, right after he came in, like to the next level. And yet, how many months has this been going on, this constant fear-mongering regarding North Korea? Because North Korea is a controlled wild card. It's not just some random wild card that organically became the nuclear North Korea. Rumsfeld helped, China helped, Russia helped. All this is in the news. So North Korea was created to play that role. Okay, so we talked about Trump in the big event. Other people, other YouTubers, saying Trump needs a new Pearl Harbor. And I'm scratching my head going, just wait. With all due respect, sir. You've been doing the conspiracy theory thing, New World Order, Illuminati, false flag, transhumanism, mark of the beast, artificial intelligence, end times, biblical, economic collapse, enter each year here in your tax. Okay? The government created ISIS and all that on top of it. And then you're going to say that if Donald Trump staged, I think Bob asked me in the comment section a comment about the Hawaii situation. Well, these things are so sensitive to talk on YouTube. So I have an on-demand channel and I have a DTube channel. And those links are down below because I'm putting out content on those other platforms outside of YouTube. As we see how things go in the next year, the censorship might go up to the next level. That would limit the type of topics that I bring to my YouTube channel. I enjoy getting into positive thinking to a certain degree. Not new agey per se, but, how we can be a little bit more positive about what we can do with this technology that our ancestors didn't have, to reach each other, to organize, to do something more with Facebook than act like it's face crack and actually organize things again. Like it's the post 9/11 world and activism was rising. There was an anti-war movement and the people seemed unified against the government. Now it's this, like I said, Alex Jones was inspiring years ago and then he changed. And with that change came my upgraded perspective on how they're keeping the masses under control. It seemed far-fetched years ago that he was something other than what he portrayed us to be, to keep it quite simply. And all those Alex Jones is Bill Hicks videos are... Think about who would want to put out that disinformation and insult Bill Hicks. What did Bill Hicks do to any of us? Just to kind of throw us off the trail and create this circus, and add in all this other nonsense. Yeah, maybe he's a shapeshifter. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, evil? Do you believe in evil? I ask those of you that call yourself Christians, do you believe in God? Do you believe then the teachings of Jesus? Okay, let's take a look at this. Is this Christian? Are these Christian values what we're seeing in our current society? Do you really believe that? Even if there's churches behind what's going on in our current society, is this truly Christian? With regards to Christian teachings and beliefs. And so, the other YouTuber was calling Donald Trump brilliant if he was behind the Hawaii missile test scare because war is necessary. In his words. In his words. I think the mainstream media has done to quote Alex Jones, has done a great turd in the punch bowl routine. They come out on this crusade against fake news, and they target innocent websites and demonetize all these platforms. And yet I've seen those social media tech giants promote extremism. I've talked about that, and I made the prediction with regards to Trump. It's not about being right. It's about recognizing patterns. It's not crystal ball reading. It's not stepping on anybody's toes. Maintaining an independent view, maintaining my concerns about this stage-managed World War III scenario that I've had at least since 2007, 2008. It wasn't very long after getting involved in alternative media that I saw that as the end game, early on. While George Bush was still the president, Jr., and then seeing those trips with him and Putin and realizing something's going on there and it's in plain sight. Because there were mild Cold War actions that were taking place then. It didn't just start with Trump or Obama. You have the Shanghai Cooperation Organization after 9/11 doing war games. I met someone recently who literally said China and Russia will never work together militarily. He doesn't know that they've been doing that for 18 years. Well, it actually goes even deeper than that. And to talk about 9/11, way too controversial for YouTube at this point. And Facebook. When they started talking about that filtering system, that's the first thing they went after. But then all this other extremist content was like all over my feed. It's not there yet. Now. It's not there now. Because Zuckerberg has covered his tracks. See, everybody kept calling him a liberal left, and everybody just distract from what he took part in. And our government was involved in it. And it's still going on. It's not over. Then Zuckerberg says, hey, I'm going to change the algorithm so people with news pages that have built up their industries, that have actually even in some cases given Facebook money to boost a post, now they're all being screwed. Just across the board. I'm going to focus more on personal and friends and and yet he got off the whole Hillary Clinton, he cares about immigrant. He on the leftist side. Really? Is that what you really think? It's not about politics. It's about those in control. And then come out as a Democrat and then come out as a Republican. Oh, and in the case of certain individuals, they can get by with supporting a Democrat like Hillary Clinton and to be photographed with Hillary Clinton and for that not to be like of concern. Donald Trump. Donald Trump the actor. Donald Trump reality TV. Donald Trump The Simpsons. Biff and Back to the Future, just the whole archetype. What's attractive about that? What it says a lot about the horrible situation that we've ended up politically. But how can you say that this was never by design? This has always been by design. They probably planned things out many, many years in advance. We have Albert Pike and the warnings of World War III. So I'm just going to wrap things up. Subscribe if you're new. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to the newsletter. If you want to hear me continue to discuss these things, I will. But a lot of it I discussed before Trump was elected. And my concerns for the future and where this will go. And my hopes are that we'll recover, actually, from the damage that's been done. And not be divided over politics. The answer isn't in who's going to be elected in the next election cycle. The question is the liberty movement going to serve? I asked the question when Ron Paul, and I knew he wasn't going to get the nomination. How is the liberty movement going to move forward? Not that Ron Paul was perfect, and I don't know everything about him. But as far as his statements and what he stood for, and how he brought people from the perceived left and right and independent together that were against the widespread wars in the Middle East and domestic policies and issues regarding liberty and freedom. There was a little controversy there for some people regarding abortion and other things, and a lot of people like to get stuck on those issues. But I met some really good people that were rallying around that individual. I'll never forget going to the RNC and visiting that in 2012. But there was also a strong sense of sadness. And there was a sense of, and I'm not pointing the finger at Ron Paul, but, I have to speak my truth, that all those eggs were put in a basket for a number of years revolving around Ron Paul. And we also have a lot of energy revolving around certain media figures that I've mentioned that are leading their audiences astray. They are literal Pied Pipers dancing their audiences over a cliff. And so the reason I talk about these things instead of live a normal life is because I care about people. People would ask me years ago, why would you want to make a documentary about the plans to create this conflict while the West has provided the East with technology to get to where it is today? Right. Because I believe that if you present information in front of people, it could prevent them from joining the military or joining the system or becoming brainwashed to the point where they hurt someone else who's innocent because they have a false perception that that person is harmful because of the propaganda. See, they can't have their way if we're unified. The types of civil unrest strife, check out my videos in 2016. I'll probably have to make some fresh playlists But it's like, we haven't seen things like this 4 years ago. Did you? Well, 8 years ago. And then going back. And we saw some stuff in the 70s. But that was people protesting the Vietnam War. And then we had the Civil Rights Movement. But like people fighting over the candidate thing. It was usually about the people versus the government. It wasn't a civil war amongst the people that was manufactured from top to bottom. We got to get out of that hole. Because it's a hole that leads to a certain level of weakness. And if society reaches a certain level of weakness, that's when we'll see other events come that take us to the next level. And so, subscribe if you're new, like this video, and share. Until next time, I'm Ansary reminding you, the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within.